What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You're dead meat! Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, your horror safe haven. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm James, and we're engaged for a little bit longer, and we like to get scared together.
Oh my gosh, I just realized is next week the last time that...
Yeah, we'll say that.
It feels really weird to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're getting, I guess, some housekeeping while we're talking about
Sure.
it up top. We're getting married next month.
Yeah,
so,
7 weeks out.
Yeah, so we have one more podcast next week, and then both of us are off till the end of January.
No.
Kill counts are off.
Kill counts are through December. They go all the way up to December 31st.
Yeah.
Lucky me.
Yeah. Podcasts don't. I'm taking the end of December off.
Good.
So only one more left this year, and then the podcast will be back in February. And I'm going to be moving them to an every other week release schedule because as it is now, every week, like I want to do more of the episodes that I feel like I had more energy, like time and energy for towards the beginning of the podcast where they were like really dense and research heavy. I still try to do those every once in a while, but they kind of kill me because there's so much work, and having like kind of just a week, it's hard to kind of make it all fit.
And I sometimes I wonder, like, how did we do it in the beginning? Like the in-depth podcasts, and I was doing 2 kill, but like both shows have evolved over time, and then both our like lives are just so different. We have so much more business stuff to do. The house is way more work than the apartment.
Yeah.
Like and right now, obviously, lots of wedding stuff going on. So it's just things are different, and to give the same quality, we've got to adjust things on our end. Hopefully you understand.
Yeah, it just has started to feel like trying to get a podcast out every week is like constantly like getting to, it feels like I'm about to fall off the treadmill a little bit every week, where I have to come up with, like, I feel like I finished something and I'm like, oh shit, I have to get something else out now, and it's a lot. So I want to be able to keep doing stuff that's good.
Yeah.
So cool. But yeah, podcasts will still be around even when James is taking off time for the kill count.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taking time away from kill counts.
So,
If you don't know what we're talking about, just watch the video that came out on Friday, the release schedule for December in 2022. Picture of me and Zorn in the thumbnail.
hoping like next week, since it's the last one for the year and the last one for a while, we can do something really stupid and fun.
I'm still hoping for paranormal pool party.
Do we dare?
I hope so.
As the last one for like a month and a half. Let us know if you guys would like that, or if you want us to do like a holiday themed bullshit
Up to you, but I feel like paranormal pool party is an iconic era of the podcast.
It is, yeah.
People loved it, and I've heard good things about the new Paranormal Activity that we still
really
haven't
want to
watched.
watch it.
And we have a hot tub with lights in it.
That's true. We can actually do a paranormal pool party for real though.
Yeah.
Outside in a pool. So we'll see. Let us know your thoughts and feelings. And everyone's just going to say, do what you want. And then I'm going to have a crisis about it. Okay. Anyway, this week, though, I'm doing what I want because I've been wanting to cover this movie for so long. And I've gotten also enough requests for it that I felt like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm finally just going to do it. We're talking about Ravenous from 1999. And the big reason I wanted to do this is because it's a horror movie that was scored in part by Damon Albarn, which is the coolest thing. He's like my number one person, kind of. Like the person if I met, I would kind of lose my mind a little bit. I feel like everyone's got like that one, I don't know, celebrity or person that they just like is on like another tier for them. That's Damon Albarn. I think he's a genius. Like, my favorite band of all time is Gorillaz. A lot of people think that there's that thing next to you on the set, James.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people have thought that that's a reference to, I think, was it One Piece? People think it's like an anime thing.
Yeah, no,
it's
that's
not.
Gorillaz.
It is like the most deep cut Gorillaz reference ever. I found it on Etsy. It is a recreation of, God, this is like how nutso of a fan I am. Back in like the 2000s, Gorillaz had an interactive website. And that is like a recreation of one of the things hanging on the wall on the website. It's a key holder that was in Murdoch's Winnebago.
And that over there is my Winnebago.
You know, it's got 4 skulls on it. 3 of them have hats. I feel real bad for the third skull
doesn't
here.
get a hat?
He's just chilling.
I think that's why people think it's a reference to this anime, because it's a skull with a hat. It does look similar. I Googled it. But no. Anyway, Damon Albarn is kind of the dream guest for this podcast as well. Horror composer Damon Albarn.
Technically, because of this movie.
You know, for sure. I would love to talk to him about this, because the soundtrack of this is absolutely wild. Like, it really lends itself to how tonally weird this thing is.
This is a weird fucking movie, dude.
It's super weird.
One, this movie I'd never heard of before we dug it up because of Damon's work on it. I'm not surprised that it did so poorly. It made $2 million on a $12 million budget.
Oof.
That's bad.
That's not
and
great.
I'm not surprised. I've never fucking heard of it before. It's weird.
It's really weird. Yeah.
It's one of the more unique films I can say that we've watched.
I think, like, watching it, because all I knew going into it was the score, and I had done a quick Google and saw it had like a 40-something Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, all right, that's, let's give it a shot, because often, we have a theory.
I think it's 49, so it's like right there in the middle. 50.
Which often when I see like a 40s to like low 60s score, I'm like, ugh, because it's not bad enough to be fun, but not good enough to be watchable kind of middle ground. But this, I feel, was maybe unfairly rated. I think this is a really cool movie. I enjoyed it a lot.
I liked it. I liked how unique it was. It is Wikipedia describes it as a horror western cannibal film, and I've also seen it described as a comedy.
I think it's got some dark comedy.
The tone is all over the fucking place, dude. It is just weird. I mean, the cast, you got David Arquette in a role.
Yeah, David Arquette.
Pretty minor role, even though by 1999, David Arquette is a well-known commodity. Minor role. You got Jeffrey Jones.
It was the opening credits of this. We were kind of like cheering at some of the names, like, oh, Guy Pearce, cool, yay. Oh, David Arquette, yay. Jeffrey Jones,
man.
Robert Carlyle, oh, cool. It's always a bummer when Jeffrey Jones is there to show up. If you're not familiar, Jeffrey Jones, pedophile, child porn.
It was
all the greatest hits.
Was it also pedophile like actions, or was it just the child
I'm
porn?
literally looking that up.
In 2003, Jones pleaded no contest to a charge of soliciting a minor to pose for nude photographs, and then had subsequent arrests for failing to update his sex offender status. Yeah, so fuck that guy. Obviously.
Yeah. I did also look to see, because I wasn't sure when that happened. I was like, oh, is this movie after that? No, this is like getting in under the wire.
Deadwood is after that. He was on a role in Deadwood in the 2004 to 2006 series, and Deadwood the movie 2019. Like they had him come back.
I'm surprised I didn't hear more of a
I remember when the movie came out,
hearing
about it. Like, what, they're really bringing him back?
Yeah.
I mean, he's Rooney in Ferris Bueller. He's Charles Dietz in Beetlejuice, and he's
the Emperor in
Amadeus.
And it sucks because all of those roles I love. I think
good performances.
He's so funny.
He's good in this
everything.
too.
He's very funny in
but
this.
He's a piece of shit.
Like, I mean, he has one of, like, in Amadeus, his, like, too many notes is, like, one of the funniest scenes in that movie. It sucks, man.
What's nice is, as an actor, and if we rent or whatever, he's not getting any fucking... he's not getting any back-end percentage points on these movies. So this is an easy one to separate art from artist. Fuck that guy. Like his performances.
I know.
I like his performances. Hope he never works again.
Yeah. It's always a weird... I think, like, separating art from the artist is a difficult conversation. There's no right answer, honestly, because I think it also so depends on, like, what's your personal connection to
it's a case
thing.
by case
And
basis,
it's so
always.
it sucks. And it sucks that it's like this person did the bad thing, and we all have to kind of, as
that's on us.
Yeah, that's on us. Like, as thinking of ourselves as better people, then having to work around this weird moral framework of accommodating for that sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Ravenous.
Otherwise, the production sounds like a fucking mess.
It sounds like a nightmare, because I didn't realize that the director of this, Antonia Bird, directed by a woman, which is cool. She was brought in after 2 other directors.
Yeah. The first one who like helmed the movie and shot for what, 2 weeks or like substantially.
A while,
And then
yeah.
was replaced by this producer, maybe from the studio.
And all the cast was like, no.
Yeah, they
him out.
replaced the original director with someone else, and the cast was like, no, fuck this second guy. And then Robert
Carlyle
who
suggested
does a
Antonio.
great job in this movie.
He's having so much fun in this. I
Yeah.
love when an actor, actress is having the best time of their lives, and clearly that's happening here. And I think it's also because he had this relationship with the director already, because he and Antonia Bird had worked on a movie prior to this. I forget which movie it was, but she had directed him before, and so he brought her up as a replacement. So that's why she came in.
Weirdly enough, she passed away, I think,
She
in her
did,
60s,
yeah.
as did the producer who worked on this, who she was a big time producer. She worked on like Spider-Man movies and shit.
Oh, wow.
Laura Ziskin, she also passed away in
Yeah.
her 60s. Like weird, I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm wondering if the change in directors has to do is any influence on the weird disjointed tone.
Maybe. And also it sounds like every single director, because Antonia Bird in interviews afterwards was like, I don't blame any of the prior directors for having issues with this because the studio was weird about
And she
this
was like,
one
in a
too.
lot of the movie, I didn't do,
Right.
or like it wasn't it didn't end up how I expected. So it sounds like studio interference and messing with it, which I mean, not necessarily bad. Again, we said we like this movie,
Yeah.
but it's messy tonally, and it sounds like a mess shooting it.
Yeah. I did also see when I was looking at Antonia Bird's filmography that her film prior to this, I think the one she did with Robert Carlyle also was Damon Albarn's acting debut.
What?
Which I really want to go watch.
Oh, I
now.
bet he looks like a baby.
I bet he is like he's like
Blur.
like beautiful anime boy Damon.
Yeah,
like
he's Blur.
90s Blur,
Yes, Ravenous, 1840s.
Mexican American War.
Yeah, everyone's favorite war.
There's like some victory. The troops are being treated to just giant slabs of nasty looking meat.
Yeah, Guy Pearce plays Captain Boyd, who just got a promotion for winning that battle, but he won it by being a coward. What
Yeah.
he did was,
I'm sorry, he won it by being smart and resourceful.
here, I'm not going to criticize anyone who does anything in a war, because fuck that, I'm not doing it. Thank you for you doing it instead. But he's an officer on the field. His men are dying, calling out for help. He just collapses on the ground and plays dead. And they put him on a pile with other bodies, and they cart it behind enemy lines. And that's when he decides to get up, and he takes over the base just by like threatening the Mexican commanders there.
Yeah.
And so he gets promoted, but then they're also like, but you're also a coward. So we're
Yeah.
sending you to California, and it sucks in California in 1840s.
Yeah.
This fort specifically.
Yeah, it basically just like, we're glad you won, but you're also a giant pussy, so we're sending you away.
Yeah, they're like, we can't execute you like we want to because it would look bad since you took this fort, but we're sending you to California.
I don't like I'm sorry, he won.
But you don't want to put him in another battle where that
does
kind of
the same
action
thing.
might not pay
Well,
off the
then
same
you just
way.
let him like quietly retire.
I don't think the military does that. But yeah, I do like how in the beginning, yeah, they're having this big steak dinner, very big bloody steaks, and it's triggering his
disgusting.
PTSD.
Yeah, there's a lot of like war PTSD in this movie, which I think is really interesting. Like there's a lot going on in this, a lot of layers and things to kind of dissect and analyze, which is really neat. And it definitely has this like this movie is not a glamorous take on war at all. It is just like, I mean, it sees war as what it is. It's just like throwing meat at other meat and just, you know, it's
Hoping your meat wins.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all very gross, and yeah, so he just runs out and throws up, and the title card's over him throwing
Yeah,
up,
that's right.
and it's pretty great.
Yeah, I don't think the movie really judges him for his actions
No, I think
there.
well, he's definitely the protagonist.
Yeah.
I think the movie has a lot of empathy, like concerning his like ambiguous win, and if that is he a coward or is he just human?
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into what he ends up facing later with his choice of, do I become a cannibal or do I do the right thing and just kind of let myself slowly die because I'm not, being nourished by human stew anymore.
Yes, he's sent to a California fort that is just a
looks like
rundown.
shit,
yeah, it's a
man.
piece of shit. You don't want to live here.
Frontier America just always looks like the fucking worst place ever. It somehow looks worse than like any like medieval town on film. I honestly would rather live in like a weird medieval like
Well,
the
because the
town in the
medieval
beginning
towns-
of Braveheart.
Because the medieval towns are like established places. They may be small and primitive, but people have been there for generations.
That's true. They have some semblance of infrastructure.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Whereas Frontier America is like, let's just head over the mountains into this wilderness.
There's some water here, and we'll build these like buildings out of sticks.
Yeah.
And yeah.
and America is big.
Yeah, there's just no one.
You can't just
around.
like, go back for help real fast. Like you're fucked if things go wrong.
Yeah, and you're not familiar with the
Which this movie
landscape.
leans on when we get to
like how big America, yeah, just how treacherous the landscape can be, because there is a lot of, I mean, it's pretty I think pretty obviously a reference to the Donner Party.
Yes,
you know?
Donner Party, and the Wikipedia mentioned this guy Alfred Packer. Are you familiar with his story? I'm not.
Maybe.
Colorado cannibal. But also just another frontier wilderness guy who ended up getting snowed in with other people, ate them. That's his
Yes.
story.
Oh my God. No, I do.
You know this guy?
Yes, I literally looked this up, and as soon as I saw like the illustration, I
with
know.
his little cap. Yeah.
I know this guy. Yeah.
So, yeah, he's sent to this fort where Jeffrey Jones is the guy in charge. He plays Lieutenant Hale. Is that
Hart,
it?
I think.
Hart, yeah.
It honestly, like I was saying, I think all like frontier forts on film look like the worst places ever. Like I think if like Hateful Eight, it just seems like it sucks.
All the stuff in The Revenant.
Yeah, it's just all very cold,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's mad and cranky because it's so cold.
Yeah.
But you know what? As much as it would suck, I feel like they have fun here.
Yeah.
Kind of. Jeffrey Jones even is like, we have fun. We're cool. We each have our own little weird quirks, and there's even like I don't know, I just thought of like a high school movie where it's like there's the weird guy who bathes in the river outside, and there's the drunk guy, and there's David Arquette.
Yeah.
He smokes weed.
They're introduced in a montage, which is part of the tones, or the movie's like lighter tone. It's a very pretty funny montage. And like you said, there's a soldier guy, Reich,
Private Reich.
who's like, bathing in the river and just screaming with his bare chest. Immediately like that guy because
Love
of
that
that.
guy, yeah.
David Arquette plays another private who just gets high with their native members.
Yeah, George and Martha, which clearly not their real names. I actually was curious if those actors were native. They are. And they are speaking, according to the internet, I don't know if this is, it's the only thing I could find telling me what language they're speaking. They're Washoe, I think.
Okay. Because didn't it say that the actor playing George is a Pueblo?
He's Pueblo,
Yes.
yeah. But I think
Joseph Running Fox.
I think they're speaking Washoe, and it makes sense. I was Googling where the Washoe like live, and it is like Northern California kind of like that. So like it makes sense.
Yeah, so I love David Arquette's relationship with them because clearly
they're just stoner friends.
They're stoner friends, and then even after George is killed, him and Martha, David Arquette and
They
Martha are
seem
like,
close,
are
yeah.
close, hanging out together. So there's that like nice attention to detail there.
Yeah, you get like a sense of the dynamic between all of them, which is cool. Just the way they block stuff in this, you can tell who's friends with who.
There is also Jeremy Davies playing Toffler, another private, but he's like the chaplain or the religious man, who everyone's just like, he's the religious guy, whatever. Now we pray. Toffler, you're in.
Yeah, okay, Toffler.
Yeah,
Go for
Jeremy
it.
Davis, I know from Lost as Daniel Faraday, probably best known for Saving Private Ryan, where he plays an infamous coward, and he's kind of the same role here. He's good at playing those roles. Kind of weak-willed guy who does not rise to the occasion when called for.
Sure.
Which is also what he does here. And then there's also a drunk Major Knox.
He's
who's
the
just very
doctor
drunk.
also, isn't he?
He's the self-proclaimed doctor, and he would be second in command. It would go Lieutenant Hart, Major Knox, and now Captain Boyd, Guy Pearce.
Oh, okay, see.
Yes, Guy Pearce, I know him. I know he is in movies that I watch. The most generic attractive face
Guy
I
Pearce.
have ever seen.
He is very...
He's in what? LA Confidential? Australian, right?
I just always know him. He's Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yep.
In my mind, Guy Pearce is a drag queen. But yeah, Memento.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should give Memento another watch, and that maybe
I think that maybe made him I'm not sure actually what made him, but because I know when he was in this, he was not really a name, and that was another reason the studios were like kind of freaked out by this movie, which is really weird in retrospect.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they're living their lives at this fort. It's, kind of sucks, but I like the little montage. And yeah, there's a lot of the comedy early on here that I think the movie forgets about in its middle half, and then it kind of comes back in the end. It does kind of
come back, yeah.
But honestly, I think the comedy doesn't work for the most part. I don't need this movie to be super serious. It can have some lightheartedness to it, but some of the comedy, I feel, stands out too much. And I'm sorry, hon, the music is often very fucking weird.
It is weird, but I love it.
There is one point that we'll talk about when we get to it where I think the music pretty much ruins the sequence.
What? Okay, I'm curious what you think.
I think
it adds to like how uncomfortable the entire thing is.
Sometimes.
It's kind of a Last House on the Left thing where it's like, what is this music? This doesn't make any fucking sense. But also it makes you feel like deeply unsettled.
Yeah. Sometimes, some of the tracks I like.
Listen,
the track that plays at the end when the movie ends.
So good.
Love it.
It's so good.
Like as it's like zooming out and going to credits.
Man,
great.
Damon has fun sometimes. I just think
Would you say this is right after like song 2?
Yeah, that's
like
kind of the wildest thing to me is like, so song 2, because Damon's also, so Blur is like what he was primarily known for. Like I'm a fan of him because I love Gorillaz so fucking much, but I love Blur too. Blur's like just Britpop, Blur versus Oasis.
Yeah.
Gotta pick one. But yeah, so like 97 would have been, song 2, which is woohoo, doo-doo-doo. Like everyone knows that song.
I feel it coming
So then
on.
he's going and doing this in 1999. I think this is like him starting to really want to experiment.
Wait, when was song 2?
97.
Oh, wow, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which is, so I think this is him already just like getting fed up, I think, with the box maybe he felt put in by Britpop a little bit and just wanting to expand and do other stuff. And I mean, at this point in his career, like now he has collaborated with like everyone in music and like probably a person from like every country on this planet. He has such like a crazy breadth of like styles and collabs. That's why I like him so much.
Yeah.
But you can tell like this movie, he's getting a little weird with it and having fun.
I also wrote around this point, the editing is manic.
It is.
And it feels like it's trying to catch up with itself.
Yeah.
Like if you watch, I don't know if we're going to have that many clips in here, but there are just like scenes, I think around the dinner table that first night where they're all together, where it's just like cut. It's like there's an inexperienced technical director running a TV show.
Like it's a live show.
Yeah, running a live show where they're like, cam A, no, cam B, no, cam C, no, cam A. And like, I like movies with large casts of well-defined characters, which this has, and like we said, where the relationships between them are clear. That happens here, even though it's not explicitly spelled out. They give you enough to like give you a sense that it's real. Like these people are really here.
And even if you're not getting like an explicit like this guy is friends with this guy, it's just the way that they all interact and like the chemistry between the performers. You instantly understand at least the dynamic between everyone, if not the explicit relationships, which is really cool.
Yeah. So David Arquette and Martha are sent off on a trip to town to buy, your basics: bacon, salt, weed.
Yeah, they're the Merry and Pippin of this.
Okay.
I guess no, that'd be him and George, because they're just smoking weed in the beginning.
Sure.
But David Arquette's definitely Pippin. I bring up Lord of the Rings because there's shots in this where they venture out into the mountains, and I'm like, it just looks like Lord of the Rings. There's like enough of them
Jeffrey Jones as Gandalf.
Yeah, Jeffrey Jones is dead, and he even has like a walking stick, and there's a blonde guy, and he's Legolas, obviously. It just all makes way too much sense.
Yeah, so they're gone when that night another guy shows
There's
up
a
named
guy.
Colhoun.
Colhoun. I
Yeah.
think it's a silent Q.
Yeah, there's a silent Q in
Yeah,
there.
Colhoun.
He shows up, collapses, he's naked, he's famished, he's been out in the wilderness for 3 months, he says when he comes through.
Yeah, he's Aragorn.
Yeah, okay, there
He's
we go.
the scraggly, mysterious stranger who's like pretty sexy, you know?
He's played by Robert Carlyle, a Scottish actor. His character is also Scottish. So he's, unconscious for a while. This is when it's like, well, all we can do is pray. Toffler, you're up.
They put him in the coziest looking bed I've ever seen.
That's true.
When
Well, first it's a hot bath.
Yeah, where they're all scrubbing him and they're trying to. I mean, I know it's like they're trying to basically bring him back to life, but it also looks really nice because
Yeah.
he's getting all like scrubbed. And it looks like a warm.
Looks like a
it's
spa day.
One of those it's like a Red Dead Redemption tub where it's like huge and it looks so fucking comfy.
Like they boil the water and then pour it in.
Oh, yeah.
Rub his body down, and then they wrap him up in furs in a bed right next to a fire.
It looks
real nice.
cozy. So he comes to, he wakes up and he tells them that he was out there for 3 months with no food.
With no food. And then he goes into a story where we get like some flashes of a depiction.
Yeah, we get a little bit of flashback.
Yeah,
and
he said he was led by a guy named Lieutenant Ives, or
Colonel
Colonel Ives, I'm
Ives.
sorry, who he said was a real piece of shit.
Yeah, they left in April to, I don't know, I forget if it were they left from, but somewhere back east to come west through the Sierra Nevadas. And Colonel Ives says, guys, I know a shortcut. Now, if you know anything about early American history, if someone tells you they have a shortcut through the Sierra Nevadas or any other mountain range, they don't. Like,
Maybe take the long way.
Take the long way. I promise they don't have a shortcut, or they are making up a shortcut to sell brochures, which I think is what happened with the Donner Party.
Oh, yeah?
Dude, it literally was a guy who was like, hey, buy my tour guide books because I know a special route, and he didn't.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's kind of how it happened. It's fucked. So, yep, they decide to take this shortcut, and oh, wouldn't you know it, it sucks.
Yep, they get trapped and have to retreat to a cave as the winter sets upon them. And then they're just in this cave for months. They eat the oxen, they eat the horses, they eat their shoes.
They eat the dog. They had
The
a dog with
yep.
them.
And then one of them dies from malnourishment, and they start eating him.
Yeah.
And then he says that Colonel Ives began to go crazy with hunger and started to actually kill some of the people there to eat them.
Yeah, because he says that after they ate this first person, they got hungry again, but this time it was different.
Yeah.
It was different hunger.
And Ives just had to eat people. So it came down to Colonel Ives, Calhoun, and a woman who was with them, the wife of another traveler. And he was like, I know it would have been more noble to stay there and protect her, but I got the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And so he says that, and Jeffrey Jones is like, well, if there's a chance of her still being alive, then we got to go back and save her. That's our job. It's our job.
It's our job, because it's my job.
Hey, last thing before we get back to the show, I just want to say how much we appreciate all the comments and feedback that we get from you guys. We'd love to learn more about you and what you're into so we can make creative choices and choose sponsors that are more relevant to you. Therefore, we have a survey set up that we'd love for you to participate in. The link is in the description of this episode, or you can visit https://bit.ly/deadmeatfeedback. Thank you guys so much, and back to the show.
Oh man, he really came in and just preyed on their goodwill, you know? I feel like he instantly got the sense, like, everyone here seems like pretty stand-up. I'm just gonna exploit that and tell them, like, this poor woman is stranded there. I wonder... No, she did exist, I think.
Yes, she did.
But I was wondering, like, wait, did she even exist? Or did he just invent her as, like, a...
I assume, yeah, he just took the details of reality and just changed a few of them to match this story that turns out is not true. So this guy, he's all run ragged. He's like scared and just a shell of a man, really.
Yeah.
During their expedition out. So everyone sets out to go there except for, who do they leave behind? Knox, who is always drunk.
Knox and I think Martha.
Well, Martha and David Arquette are still gone.
Oh, that's right. They're still gone.
So yeah, they leave Knox behind,
Knox,
and everyone else.
Drunk,
and everyone else heads out.
Yeah, while they're on their way, I believe George explains the myth of the Wendigo. Which,
yes, said here Wendigo.
Wendigo, yeah.
Which is very popular nowadays.
I was about to say lots of that in stuff now, which is an interesting discussion because often I don't know if the Wendigo's ever been put on film. I could be wrong here, by like a native filmmaker. I'm not sure. As far as I know, because I'm thinking of what was that game we played? Until Dawn, right?
Yes.
It had the Wendigo in it.
That has Wendigo. Crypt has a Wendigo. It's Native American lore. I forget tribe specific.
Yeah.
I hate just saying Native American, but and that it has to do with eating other people, and so a cannibal aspect to it. And yeah, I think it's probably become popular now because we've run through a lot of our classic horror tropes and figures, and I feel like recently someone came across the Wendigo in their research, made it, and then people were like, oh, this is a quote-unquote new thing. It's not, but it's new to a lot of people, and so they're like, oh, let's make properties about it.
Yeah, and what's interesting is this movie, weirdly, I think is a bit closer to what the mythology actually is than some of this newer stuff. Because in this newer stuff, you get the Wendigo as like this weird, like
a creature.
But it's not. That's I'm literally just a cursory Wikipedia.
Sure.
Like it's telling me that like in films, films often label human beast hybrids featuring antlers or horns with the Wendigo name, but such animal features don't appear in original indigenous stories.
A man eats another's flesh. It's usually an enemy. And he steals his strength, in essence, his spirit.
Yeah, so during the journey, Toffler takes a little spill down the hill.
Oh yeah, because he found a bone and he got really excited. He thought he maybe found like it was like a leg bone or something. And Toffler gets too excited and falls.
And splits open his side, so he's got this gaping wound in him now.
Yeah.
And then that night they're all sleeping in a tent, and then he wakes up screaming because he says Colhoun was licking at him.
Yeah, ew, that's so gross. And Colhoun has to just be like, dude, I swear I wasn't.
He's like, I'm sorry, I was dreaming, I woke up, I was licking him, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. He's like, I was having a nightmare and I just woke up like this.
You can restrain, yeah. Sorry, I woke up like this.
And like, Boyd is already really suspicious because I think right before this, he's talking to Colhoun and he asks if Colhoun felt stronger after eating someone.
Did you feel it all physically changed? Stronger?
I seem to remember something like that. A certain virility.
Why does he ask that? Because the Wendigo story, or?
I think so.
Okay.
I think because George had already told them that story.
Okay.
And it was just the
and
idea
you eat someone, you take their strength and
yeah,
spirit.
you take their essence and you just have the sensation and you grow stronger from it. So Boyd is like, how you feeling?
So they agree to just like bind his hands and lead him around on a leash. So that he can't
George
be
calls Colhoun a Wendigo at this point. He
George
points
does,
at him.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I do like how you got George here, and I don't know how much English he speaks, but he does seem to be treated as a trusted source by even Lieutenant Hart.
Yeah.
Who is the leader here. He will look to George and be like, yeah, and George would be like, yeah. He's like, okay, yeah.
That's kind of like in my, I don't know a ton about earlier, I'm not like a huge American history buff, but from my understanding of native relations with settlers and stuff, that is kind of the fucked up pattern of history is they're often very trusted sources of information and their guides. And
yeah, I feel like on an individual basis there were many very positive relationships between settlers and natives, and then as a systemic policy thing, we fucked them. It's like this recurring pattern over where the expansion of the United States, we relied so much on information from the people who lived here already, and then but I don't know, that's what I kind of thought of when I thought of George. Yeah. They get to the cave where Colhoun says that everything went down, and he starts freaking the fuck out. And at first I was like, why is he freaking out? He said he would go with them because when they were leaving camp, they were going to leave him there to recover. And he was like, no, I'll come and help you find it. Yeah. But, fairly pointing out they wouldn't be able to find it, which, yeah. America's very big. I always like seeing the chain of command in movies like this. I always like seeing Lieutenant Hart is the leader, so he's putting people in charge, but he needs an officer in the cave with all the privates. So, sorry, Captain Boyd, you have to go in there telling who to like stay outside and defend. I like seeing tactics like that.
And then that creates such tension where it's like, I maybe know the guy who is in charge of me is a complete fucking idiot, but
I
like,
have to follow.
but it's like what takes precedence here. It always makes for such good drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he sends in Reich, who is the soldier of the group. He was described it. He's the guy, the blonde guy bathing in the river.
Yeah.
And
he's the muscle.
He's the muscle for sure.
Yeah.
He sends in him with Captain Boyd, and they go in. They find like a hole in the ground.
Hole, and I wrote that they should go in there and kiss each other.
Yeah, you really want these two to kiss.
There's just a lot. It's that funny thing of like Hollywood depictions of stuff where it's just like a bunch of dudes, is that everyone's always stupid handsome, you know?
Yeah.
And it's that like dirty handsome, and it's just, I don't know, it just always feels like, maybe they should all kiss.
Yeah, maybe. So Reich, the private, climbs in there with a lantern, and he finds skeletons. Just skeleton city down there,
and there's
baby.
like this crazy thick bass line that's coming in, and it's this cool like moody part of this movie that I really like.
And he finds that they've been eaten, sure enough, so the story was right. But wait a minute, this last body is a lieutenant's or a colonel's outfit.
Yeah, so he's counting and realizing, wait a minute.
They've all been eaten.
It doesn't add up. Yeah, everyone got eaten, so like, who's this dude?
Yeah, so who ate them all? Oh, the guy who brought us here. It's a trap.
It's a trap. They yell, it's a trap, and they all scramble.
First, Colhoun
he had
digs up a knife that he buried.
Yeah.
And then he just goes nuts. He stabs Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah, he shoots George.
He shoots George and kills George.
Yeah.
And then this is Jeremy Davies being the coward again. Jeremy Davies has a gun and is pointed at him, and then Colhoun's just like, run. And then Jeremy Davies throws his gun down and runs because he's being a coward.
Well, there's no bullet.
Oh, because he already shot and missed?
So what happened is Colhoun goes to shoot Toffler, and there's no bullet. Because Toffler's standing there like he knows he's going to get shot.
Oh.
So he's not.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, let's give Toffler
No. Colhoun's gun doesn't have a bullet.
Right.
Toffler's gun, he has a rifle.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, he's a fucking...
okay.
This is what Jeremy Davies plays, man.
Oh,
he
no.
plays these types of
You
characters.
never want him in your...
You do not want him
your
on your squad,
squadron,
dude.
yeah.
You don't.
So he just tells him like, run. And he also goes, that's so annoying.
That line, I'm like, no, I don't want
Sure,
this humor.
get rid
Because
of
yeah,
it.
it's when he fires and there's no ammo. He's like,
So annoying.
no, dude, this was a good twist. And I was like taken aback, and it's horrifying. And then that's what I'm talking about, is this fucking fiddle and banjo music comes in.
I just realized I forget if we said, because I just got so on like a Damon Albarn hype train, that the score's also, it's Michael Nyman, who is like a class, and he's a composer. You look at his Wikipedia, and it's like, notable works, movement for strings in G, or like, it's all shit like that. And he's done a few. He did the piano. That, I think that's probably his most known, he's only done a few film scores, but the piano gotta be like his biggest one, but mostly just like he's a composer.
So I'm assuming this part is Damon.
Maybe, dude. Although, I think a lot of some of the stuff actually, I did do some digging into the soundtrack, so I was really fascinated by it. A lot of that stuff I think is Michael Nyman, because he, I think I was reading somewhere that the like music in the beginning, where it's like these old, it just sounds like it's renditions of like very old American music. Is stuff that he did with basically the equivalent of the Portsmouth Sinfonia, which, remember, it's that Portsmouth Sinfonia is that orchestra where it's all people who either don't know how to play instruments, or if you join, you have to, and you already play something, you have to pick an instrument you have no idea. And they do that like Thus Spake Zarathustra cover that is like the funniest thing ever. Anyway, the soundtrack is balls to the wall weird.
I hate
But no,
this
I think
moment.
they're equally to blame for the weirdness. I'm not letting Michael Nyman off the hook here.
Like, I love this part, and then that just ruins it for me, because they're chasing after this guy who's just murdered a bunch of people and eaten a bunch of people. He kills Jeremy Davies. They find him with his, like, fucking intestines hanging out. And so it's Private Wright and Captain Boyd, Guy Pearce, chasing after him with a fucking fiddle music. I hate it. It's like that music that plays in Friday the 13th when Kevin Bacon and his friends are driving up. It's absurd.
Yeah. So Boyd gets backed up to a cliff and just fucking jumps after, because Reich gets knifed.
Gets killed, yeah.
And
yeah. So, well, also important, Boyd shoots Calhoun, like right in the torso.
Right, yeah.
Although they say shoulder later.
I think it's probably like
like the peck,
like that
kind
meaty
of
part of your shoulder.
Yeah, I thought it was like right in the middle of the chest. But in any case, he takes the shot, goes down, and then gets back up. He's fine.
Yeah.
So he's got some superhuman abilities to him. And he basically just chases Boyd off a cliff. Boyd jumps.
Okay, I don't know if any of you have seen Hot Rod,
which is great. Which
is like one of the funniest movies ever.
Yes.
There's a scene in that where Andy Samberg it's like it's a parody of Footloose. And he like falls down this like cliffside in the forest, and it lasts for so long, and it's so funny. Like, it stops being funny and then is funny again. That's how long it lasts. Dude, this might last longer than that.
It might.
Calhoun's falling for so long, and he even picks up Reich. Like, Reich is down there, and he like starts tumbling with Reich's like dead body.
And Reich still has a knife in him. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh no, he's tumbling with a knife in him.
Falling together down. It's
and then they separate again, and it's just Boyd tumbling again by himself. It goes on forever.
It's so goddamn funny, and I don't even know if it's supposed to be funny. Maybe it's just funny because it reminded me so much of Hot Rod.
It goes on for so long, and they wind up in a little ravine, or cavernous little area.
He's kind of tucked away,
and it's enough to hide from Calhoun when he goes looking for him. But since he's stuck down there, he has to turn to eating him.
Yeah, and his leg's all fucked up too.
Oh yeah, he's got like a
Boyd
broken
has
leg,
a bone. It's like his shin bone is sticking out of his leg.
It's nasty.
I did have the thought that like, poor Boyd, this is like the one guy you can't hide from by pretending you're dead. He will just eat you.
He'll just eat you.
Which I think is
funny.
It is funny.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he eats a little bit of Private Reich.
Yeah, who was alive briefly. He like tried to strangle him.
Oh yeah, it was one of those like
yeah,
it's dumb. I hate those.
So okay, Reich is dead.
And this is about the halfway point of the movie. It's like 45 minutes into an hour 50-minute long movie.
Yeah.
So, and already so much has happened.
I know. So I was like, what else is going to happen?
Exactly. Watching this, I'm like, what the fuck happens next? Well, Boyd goes back to the fort, and he gets there, and David Arquette's like, oh my God, it's Boyd. Because David Arquette's still around.
David Arquette's back. We thought that was going to be the... Because
we were like, that'd be it.
We were joking that he was going to be the post-credit scene where like everyone's gone. They've all been eaten by this guy, and David Arquette just shows up and is like, guys,
got the weed.
Got the weed, yeah.
So he comes back and...
To like the score where it starts off like normal enough, but then you hear this sound that it just... Damon likes to use certain sounds in his music that as soon as it comes in, it's like this like Casio keyboard sounding. No, I don't know what it is, but we both just started cracking up because it clearly is just him being like, yes, I know exactly what's going to make this sound amazing.
It's very high pitched.
It's great.
Very high pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets back, and that General Slauson, who at the beginning was like, you're a coward.
Yeah.
He's there now, and he's like, well, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah, we sent you here, and what the hell happened? Yeah.
And Boyd tries to explain what happened, but no one believes him. Because they checked the cave and there's no bodies there. Calhoun cleaned up.
Yeah.
And they're like, there's no evidence of what you're saying. And David Arquette and Martha were gone, so they never met this Calhoun guy. Major Knox, do you remember this Calhoun guy? Knox, who's always drunk.
No, he's drunk.
Is like, no, I don't remember no Calhoun guy. Knox tries to sober up now that the general's here and we get a little bit better sense of who he is as a person. Oh, apparently he's just the Southern gentleman type guy.
Yeah, he's got this kind of accent.
Yeah, he's got the Southern
this,
gentleman
I'm just
accent.
a humble Southern lawyer. You know, it's that.
Hey, but I've never seen no Calhoun eating people.
Yeah,
he's got his little
exactly.
mustache. A lot of mustaches in this movie.
Lots of good facial hair for
Even
sure.
before I knew Slouson's name, I just called him General Mustache.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're like, okay, well, now that you fucked everything up here, Boyd, we're gonna have to put a new guy in charge. Here, this is Colonel Ives.
Yeah, look
What?
at who it is.
It's fucking Calhoun.
It's that boy.
It's Calhoun, who's actually Colonel Ives, but he's all
Ives,
done
yeah.
up.
He looks real good.
And so here's the thing with this performance by Robert Carlyle. He first shows up and he's like scared, out of his mind guy who almost starved to death. Then after you find out that it was a trap and that he laid a trap for people and is trying to kill them and eat them, he's this crazed like lunatic who's chasing them and is all like sadistic. And now he's playing a third flavor
Ives.
of this
So I think he
role.
was Ives the entire
Yeah, he was Ives, though, because in the flashbacks we never saw Ives.
did
He
see
just
Ives,
talked
yeah.
about him. And so now he gets to play the more refined, like, military man who is just like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. But then when the two of them are together, he's like, I saw you ate that guy.
Yeah, how was it? Did you feel
You like
great?
that? You like eating that guy?
Oh man, just gaslighting him this entire movie.
It's
I know
so
people
good.
use gaslight and we overuse it, but this is like a masterclass in gaslighting.
No,
this
because
movie.
gaslight is I think it's more specific
or
than
it's
this.
more. You'd have to make Boyd think like, oh, maybe did I imagine this whole thing?
That
yeah,
would be
okay, you're
gaslighting,
right.
yeah, for sure.
So they tell Boyd like, look, you should just retract this story because you sound crazy, and just take it all back, and maybe we can still make things work here. Yeah, but yeah, that I love when they bring in Colonel Ives.
It's so good.
Guy Pearce just not okay.
He just like falls down.
He just
It's
falls.
like,
His
"Ugh."
knees just give out. He falls over.
So now Boyd is having issues. He wants to eat people. He's having hallucinations of attacking and eating David Arquette.
Yeah.
When he's looking at him out the window. And when Ives talks to him confidentially and is like, yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
He's like, I used to have tuberculosis, dude.
Yeah, I was I had depression and anxiety.
And then I ate some people and I felt right as rain. He says a native guy told him that eating people, he told him the whole Wendigo thing. So he killed and ate that native guy and then took these people out on that mission and ate them all up too.
Yeah, and now his skin is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks just really moisturized and
he's able to wake up on
amazing.
time without an alarm clock.
Yeah, for sure. He's optimized, dude.
Yeah, he's
a
an
fully
optimized
man.
What is that? Oh, that's from you.
Yeah. I love the scene though when Boyd is like, no, I swear it's this guy. He should be shot through the shoulder. And they make him take he like kind of, I don't know, this scene. Like, please, sir, we know this is a weird request, but can you please take off your shirt? And like, he like bares his shoulders and they're just like, thank you for showing us your gorgeously tapered shoulders, sir. You look amazing. And yeah, of course, there's no wound or anything, but the way he plays it is so like coquettish because he knows, and you know that he's saving the shoulder he was shot in just to fuck with Boyd,
yeah.
because he looks like he's saving it for last because like, oh no, that's the one he was shot in, and maybe he could get away with showing the other one, but no, he knows he's fine. He's just playing it up because he's a fucking asshole.
And
It's
he's
so
like,
great.
I hope I won't need to cough for you.
Yeah. And everyone chuckles.
So now we got one of those games where Boyd knows that Ives is a bad guy, but everyone else is like, no, Ives is a good guy. He's the boss. And Boyd, you're the crazy one.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of like kind of picking people off.
There's a lot of Ives just being like, come on, you want to. Like,
Yeah, he's like, all right, listen, man, you ate people, so now you're going to have to keep eating people. That's how this works. But if you do it, you're going to feel great. You're going to be super. You remember when you shot me? And I don't have that wound anymore. That's because I ate people.
But what's wild to me is like, Boyd is able to resist it, which speaks a lot to his like morality. Because he even says like, I'm not doing it because it's wrong. Like, that's why I'm resisting, is like, it's just straight up wrong. And the way that the kind of mythology of the Wendigo is explained, it almost sounds like it's an insatiable hunger where like once you eat people, you can't not anymore. But the fact that Boyd is able to kind of resist demonstrates like, no, there is some choice here. Granted, it basically is a life or death choice.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know how explicitly it's spelled out, but my impression is that once you eat human to survive, if you don't keep eating human, you will die.
That's what it sounds like, that's the only thing that will then
nourish you.
Pretty much, yeah. That's why also it has like shades of vampire to me.
Yes.
Where it's just
like you have
drink
to
blood now.
Drink blood now.
Yeah.
So David Arquette is killed very unceremoniously. They just kind of find his body, which that's a bummer.
Yeah, he's on the roof of the barn. There's a bunch of dead horses in there.
And Martha's very displeased about that. She is sent to go get reinforcements. So Martha exits.
Yeah, poor Martha just sent on foot to go.
I do like the moment where I think it's Major Knox. He goes up to her and he's like, hey, one of us needs to go get reinforcements. Any volunteers? And just the look on her face when she raises her hand.
Just sighs and puts her hand up.
But don't worry, Martha, that's going to save your life.
Yeah, no kidding. I think she goes to get Slauson because Slauson, like, he left.
Oh, yeah, he's nearby.
So they went to go get him back because it's like, okay, well, now we got to just put Boyd in federal prison. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, so now it's just Knox, Ives, and Boyd. And sure enough, Knox gets killed. But not by Ives, and not by Boyd.
There's an interesting edit where I did like this, because at first I was like, wait, am I insane or did like another person kill Knox? Maybe I just imagined it, because the way it's edited is very fast, and it's like, that seemed like an impossible cut, but it would have been possible if there was like a third person. And it turns out there is, because guess who's back?
Just like his role in Deadwood, Jeffrey Jones is back. I did not expect this to happen.
No, I liked this twist. He's also looking very hydrated and skin cleared, hair very shiny.
Because he had been stabbed, but we didn't see him die.
Yeah.
So it turns out Calhoun went back to him and fed him some people and got him feeling better again, reinvigorated, and now they're part of the same club. And they kill Knox, and they cook him up, and then Hart goes to talk to Boyd, and it's like, I love this line.
We want you to join our polycule, is the vibes I get.
He literally
from
says,
this.
we want to bring you into the fold.
Yeah.
He's like, because I like you personally.
We saw you from across the bar, and we thought we liked your look, kind of thing. It feels a lot like that.
Join our club of eating people. And I like this dynamic, too, because you have Ives, who doesn't like Boyd. I think he just is like, okay, if we can get him to join us, then fine, he'll be a member of us. But Hart legitimately likes Boyd as a person. It's like, listen, man, I was gonna die. They brought me back. You can too. It'll be cool. Like, it feels pretty good. And Boyd likes Hart as a person, but obviously hates Ives.
Yeah, they represent like three very in terms of how they deal with their situation too, because obviously Ives doesn't care. He has no qualms.
Loves it.
He loves it. He's having a great time. He's like, this is America and it's manifest destiny, and this is dope. I love it. Then you have Hart, who up till a certain point is like, yeah, no, maybe this could be really cool and you should join us. But as soon as he's confronted by someone who he realizes has like a stronger moral character than him, he's like instantly ashamed of himself.
Yeah, because he says he always tried to do the right thing and look where it got him.
Yeah.
I do think he seems, when he comes back and he kills Major Knox, and he killed David Arquette too, he says as much. I think that those actions and his attitude when he is revealed as having returned, that seems like he's all in and like he's in with it. And then he does another turn where he's like guilty all of a sudden. I think that happens too suddenly, because it's just, it's him and Boyd, because Ives is out doing something, and it's him and Boyd together, and he's like, you know what? I feel really bad. Can you just kill me real fast?
It does happen pretty quick.
Because I can't, I'm watching the movie, I'm like, oh, I see that now he has done like a face turn, but I don't know what prompted it specifically, and I wish I did.
I think it was, for me, it was just literally like realizing, oh, I do have a choice here. I think maybe he had lied to himself, like, well, no, this is just what my life is now, kind of thing, and it's cool. But realizing, oh no, there is someone who's being a bigger man than me, I think it's maybe like an ego thing almost.
But what's also weird is that it happens after Boyd does have some of that Major Knox soup, just to keep himself from dying.
Yeah.
Because Ives like stabs him and is like, don't worry, it's not fatal if you eat some of this people. And so he reluctantly has some just to survive a little bit longer. And then, yeah, after that, it's weird because like Hart seemed all in when he was skinning Knox. Mm-hmm. Like Ives was like, here, you do this. And you see him in the background just kind of like idly hacking away at the skin. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he eventually decides he doesn't want to live like this and is like, here, Boyd, just kill me real fast. And he gets his throat slit.
Take the knife. You have to do me a favor before you go. You have to kill me.
So that kills him, and now it's down to Boyd v. Ives.
Yeah, they just have this cool, like, they're just fighting all
like
over
superhuman
this.
fight because they're just a little bit more powerful than an average human.
Mm-hmm.
A whole roof falls in on Ives at one point, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the location of shooting this is fucking
very
cool.
cool.
They shot in, I think, some Mexican mountains, and then in the mountains bordering on the border between Poland and Slovakia.
Really?
Maybe. I don't know if that makes sense geographically, but they filmed in like mountains, and
Yeah.
especially in the scene when Reich and Boyd chase down Calhoun and they like corner him on that cliffside, and there's all
It's
these
amazing.
these
yeah.
shots of these trees and mountains is incredible. And
Yeah.
like it had to have been difficult to get all the gear and people out there to shoot
I
it.
can't imagine. And also, it's just cold. Like,
Yeah.
that would be miserable.
But it pays off in just how good it looks. And that's another just weird aspect of this movie. It's like there's money behind it. Like 12
Yeah.
million isn't a huge budget, but especially in 99, that's enough.
It's enough, yeah.
It's just another weird aspect of this movie. It's like a mid-budget, care went into it. It's still fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boyd stabs Calhoun in the stomach with a pitchfork.
Yep.
It's just a cool, like, cannibal vampire fight a little bit.
A lot of back and forth stabbing.
Yeah, without it looking goofy, which is the thing. They
Yeah.
could have pushed the superhuman stuff to a point where it looks very silly, but they don't. They just, they show enough hints of like, I think one of my favorite, it's not in this fight, but one of my favorite little things is at the beginning when we first meet Jeffrey Jones, he offers Boyd walnuts and he has to crush him with a book, but
Yeah.
then he offers him walnuts again near the end and he just crushes him with his hand.
It's great.
It's
that was
really
a great,
good,
like,
yeah.
introduction, setup and payoff
It's
for sure.
very good, yeah. They're like headbutting each other.
A lot of headbutts in this movie,
A lot of
actually.
headbutts. They both end up, basically Boyd falls on top of Ives purposely so that they both end up in this giant bear trap.
Giant bear trap.
Would it need to be that big?
I don't know what that trap is for.
It's like this. It's like a.
That's
it's
like
like
an
a shark
ox trap or
mouth.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it encompasses both of their bodies. It's nuts.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Slauson just showed up. And he's tasting that soup, the stew.
Well, I think they said their plan was to bring Slauson in so that they would have like a high-ranking general with them as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love hearing about the plan. It's like, we're going to have this outpost, and like next spring, a bunch of people are going to come out here for Manifest Destiny, and they'll have to come here. We'll lead them up.
I did like that monologue a lot with Ives talking about how like it's America and it's amazing. We keep expanding westward, and there's just people who are gonna come here looking for gold, and we're gonna be here to just it's such a cool like creepy.
It's like we're going to take over the country with cannibals.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. Basically like using America's urge to expand westward against itself.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
And then I also like how they're both in this bear trap at the end. And I like when Ives is talking about, well, I know that if you die first, I'm going to eat you. The question is, if I die first, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Are you going to resist or not? And Ives does die first. And then Boyd does not eat him.
Yeah.
And Boyd dies as well.
And they die together.
Without kissing, though. I'm
They
sorry,
don't
hon.
kiss.
And then
They
Martha
could've.
like looks, finds them, and is just like, no.
Nope.
Just turns around and leaves.
She leaves. I don't know if she leaves the whole. I
yeah.
think she probably figures like.
I don't know
this is-
anyone left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's out of there.
I think she's donezo.
Yeah, I think I think it's that weird tension we were talking. Where it's like I can't fully trust anyone.
Yeah, like the
here.
people who I knew and trusted are gone.
Yeah.
Now there's just like generals and shit
Yeah,
who I don't know and don't know me.
Right, who
Fuck
represent
this.
like the state.
Yeah.
I'm getting the fuck out of
Get
here.
the fuck out.
Yeah.
Especially because, they kind of, Ives' plan maybe got some, went off because Like you said, the general was eating
Slauson,
some
yeah.
stew.
And
He might have that taste for it. But the last shot is an overhead shot of the two of them dying together in a bear trap. And the music, like I said, is really good there.
it's really good. Yeah. I love the ending music. It's very creepy. Like there's a lot of really like towards the end, a lot of like kind of thrumming, repetitive music that is extremely
Percussive, yeah.
Yeah,
Really builds up the
unsettling. It's
tension.
good.
I like it.
I'm glad I finally got to watch this. I just had known about it for so long as just the one horror movie that Damon Albarn helped to score, which like that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I definitely say check it out if you like seeing unique movies.
If you like historical, like I mean,
Period
obviously this isn't
movies,
like
yeah.
historic, but movies set in another time period,
Mm-hmm.
like Western type. I'm not like a huge like Western set stuff. I'm not super into like the Old West. But if that's your thing, I feel like you would like. If you like Red Dead Redemption, you would like this a lot.
Yeah, very
It's
interesting
like
movie.
dirty guys.
I don't often see movies that I'm like, I can't name much that is similar to this.
I think if this movie was like re-released, like
You were saying by A24?
yeah, I think if like you made this exact movie now and it was an A24 release, people would go apeshit for it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was. Also, I saw that the summer it was released. Unfair. Like you had Phantom Menace and like The Matrix and all kind. It just.
Ooh.
I
Yeah.
think is that 99 The Matrix?
99, yep.
Yeah, it just drowned by all these other movies.
That
And like
sucks.
it was Fox too. 'Cause Fox was like just not even sure what I think they didn't have any faith in this, so they kind of purposely buried it.
I mean, it's a hard sell.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. But if you're listening to this, I bet you like it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So yeah, next week, if people want, we can do a paranormal pool party.
We're wrapping up the year. It's been a good year. We want to do a recap, kind of a year recap, a year in review video. So what are your favorite moments from the podcast for us to include in there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, make them as succinct as possible. They can't be like 2-minute long discussions, but any like quick little lines or things that stick with you from the podcast, any funny moments, let us know because we'd love to get those in a little year-end wrap-up. Merch is out.
Yeah, I'm putting up the little graphic, and then there's a link in the description for merch.
People really like it.
Cool. Yeah, I want to
Got
have
a lot of positive
more.
comments.
I'm planning
We'll
on
get
wedding.
more. We'll get more soon.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about it right now.
I know. There's too much.
Yeah. And you can hit us up on social media at Dead Meat James on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
And I'm at Carebeck, CREBECC on Twitter and Instagram. And that's that. So until next week, our last of the year and our last as an engaged couple. It's so crazy. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm James.
And this has been the Dead Meat Podcast.